From AfterBuzz TV's Chief Operating Officer Phil Svitek comes a weekly digital series that shares his insights, concepts, and findings from years of learning and mentorship. Welcome to Phil Svitek Podcast.
Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, and since inception have been AfterBuzz TV's Chief Operating Officer. For those unfamiliar, AfterBuzz TV is a leader in TV discussion. In fact, it's been dubbed the ESPN of TV talk. Before I begin today, I want to thank producer Juliet Vibert for filling in for me last week while I was away. She taught a great lesson on sticking with the problem longer. It's one of my very favorite lessons, and I'm glad she got to teach it. Check it out after today's lesson if you haven't done so already. Of course, the link is in the description. Now for today's lesson, I want to talk about the notion of speaking your truth. It's a phrase I've been hearing more and more from people around me and in the news.
Speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have.
I feel as though that there are people that misunderstand this notion and therefore apply it incorrectly. I first started thinking about what speak your truth really means when I, Tonya came out last year. It's a biographical film, which in and of itself has become a very loose term nowadays. Anyway, it depicts the story of a talented figure skater named Tonya Harding as she becomes the first American woman to complete the triple axel during competition. In 1994, her world came crashing down when her ex-husband conspired to injure Nancy Kerrigan, a fellow Olympic hopeful, in a poorly conceived attack that forces the young woman to withdraw from the national championship. Harding's life and legacy instantly became tarnished as she's forever associated with one of the most infamous scandals in sports history. If you haven't seen the film, it's worth checking out for the reasons I'm about to highlight. Also, to get more details on the history and the making of, check out my weekly series, Anatomy of a Movie, where we covered the film at length. Based on the title alone, you can probably tell this film is from the perspective of Tonya Harding.
People still wanted to see me. Everyone has their own truth, and life just does whatever the fuck. And that's the fucking truth.
This film went on to create a lot of Oscar buzz, and it brought back Tonya Harding into the spotlight in what I would call revisionist history.
People forget what a villain she was.
Well, that's how she was portrayed, though. I think she was portrayed as one thing.
Suddenly, she was a brave woman for speaking her truth. All the while, I thought, what the hell does Nancy Kerrigan think about all this? I'm sure it can't be anything pleasant.
Nancy Kerrigan is breaking her silence over the new movie I, Tonya and its sympathetic portrayal of Tonya Harding. I was the victim, says Nancy, who was whacked in the knee in an attack orchestrated by Harding's ex-husband. Why? That's my role in this whole thing. That's it.
See, therein lies the danger of a phrase like speak your truth for me. Because it's not the objective truth, it's a perspective. More specifically, your perspective. Speaking your truth is a very noble sentiment. However, it gets tricky since we also value tolerance and wide-ranging thoughts and opinions. At no point do you want to assign someone else's truth better or worse than your own. Inherently, that is what happens with a phrase like speak your truth. It implies a concrete statement, oftentimes with blind certainty, that negates the other person's perspective. For those who tune into the show regularly, know that I'm not a fan of rigid thinking. Well, this is exactly what blind certainty can create, which is the worst danger of all. As a society, whether on a small scale or large scale, how can we move forward with blind certainty? It closes us off from actually listening to other people. Hearing other people's perspectives on the matter can be quite beneficial. It allows us a viewpoint into why they think certain things. It teaches us. Whether or not the other person changes or learns is beyond your control. But without understanding for yourself, you're no better. This kind of closed-mindedness, for me, is a form of narcissism or simple laziness. You don't want to take the time to see the other person's perspective. That is how historically the best advancements have happened, when people come together and discuss problems. Too often now I see people use the phrase, well, I'm just speaking my truth, as a license for indifference or arrogance. This line of thinking leads to one place, and that's misery. You'll be forever pissed off and unhappy. Does that sound appealing to you? Because I think not. Not only will you be miserable, but what you're also inadvertently doing is dismissing other people's hardships and allowing yourself to be a victim in situations that you probably aren't. Allow me to play you a clip from The Devil Wears Prada to illustrate this point.
She hates me, Nigel.
And that's my problem because... Oh, wait, no, it's not my problem.
I don't know what else I can do, because if I do something right, it's unacknowledged. She doesn't even say thank you. But if I do something wrong, she is vicious.
So quit.
What?
Quit. I can get another girl to take your job in 5 minutes. One who really wants it.
But no, I don't want to quit. That's not fair. But I'm just saying that I would just like a little credit for the fact that I'm killing myself trying.
Ugh, Andy, be serious. You are not trying. You are whining. What is it that you want me to say to you, huh? Do you want me to say, poor you? Miranda's picking on you. Poor you, poor Andy. Don't you know that you were working at the place that published some of the greatest artists of the century? Halston, Lagerfeld, De La Renta. And what they did, what they created, was greater than art. Because you live your life in it. You have no idea how many legends have walked these halls. And what's worse, you don't care. Because this place, where so many people would die to work, you only deign to work. And you want to know why she doesn't kiss you on the forehead and give you a gold star on your homework at the end of the day.
Juliette Vibert is the one who introduced me to this movie, so thank you, Juliette. It really is a great film, and hopefully by watching this scene you can see that Anne Hathaway's character really isn't interested in doing the best job. She wants life to be easy for her. In her mind she has created this truth, which is that she's been abused and that nothing can go right for her. She has self-identified as a victim even though she is not. She wants her cake and to eat it too. Luckily, Stanley Tucci's character speaks his truth and offers her the perspective that she's been lacking. Mind you, at no point did I condemn the phrase speak your truth. The examples given are ones where people aren't following the spirit of the phrase. They're using it for a kind of personal gain. What I aim at is for us to truly understand what it means to apply it in a beneficial form. As someone who studies storytelling across all mediums, whether movies, books, TV, etc., I'll let you in on a little secret. Even the person that you think is the worst person in the world and perhaps truly evil doesn't really believe he or she is a bad person. No one believes they are evil. It's just a matter of perspectives and values. All forms of so-called evil do stem from otherwise good values taken to an absolute extreme. In this example, I've highlighted how speak your truth can be taken to the extreme of narcissism, closed-mindedness, arrogance, and indifference. If we stop to think longer, I'm sure we could come up with more traits that come into play when speak your truth is taken to an extreme. The most dangerous form of it, though, is highlighted in the sentence of, well, I'm just speaking my truth. Through those words, it becomes the negation of the negation. Narcissism masked in good intention. So much so that the person who is saying that doesn't even know that they are actually doing it. Again, goes back to the idea of blind certainty, which can be classified as a default setting. Such patterns and behaviors can only be broken when examined. Seems Socrates was right, wasn't he? An unexamined life is not worth living. So let's examine what speaking your truth truly means, pun intended. Yahoo political editor says, sometimes you know something is real and happened and is wrong, even if the world says it's just the way things are. It's a call to activism rooted in the individual story, grounded in personal experience. Another way to view it is that speaking your truth allows people who are rarely heard to tell their story and therefore learn that they are not alone. It enables individual experiences to connect others and can lead to fighting systemic issues. Now, this is just one perspective, of course. You might even say it's my truth. You are free, of course, to think of it what you will, but please don't just dismiss it. As David Foster Wallace says, the only thing that's capital T true is that you get to decide how you're going to see it.
Here's some quick info before you head off. First, the transcript of this episode is available in the description. That way, you can review the lesson at your convenience. Do leave us a comment. We're always excited to hear what you have to share. If you've enjoyed this lesson, please be sure to hit that like button and tell your friends and family about us. Also, you can support this show on patreon.com/BillsVTech. Every contribution is truly appreciated. To be notified when future episodes release, subscribe on either Apple Podcasts or on YouTube. Plus, the show is now available on Google Play. Lastly, if you're a new host or a college student seeking an internship in the LA area and would like to join AfterBuzz TV, visit AfterBuzz TV's contact page. A direct link is provided. Or, of course, you can tweet at BillsVTech or Instagram me at BonjourJuliette. Thanks for watching. I am Julie Vibert, a producer on the show, and we'll see you next week with another one of Phil's life lessons.